Welcome back to another Stock Market Open Live. Today we've got what's probably going to be a red day. We got Tesla sitting right here at 225. 225 is I've had this orange line here. I don't even know how long I've had this orange line here, but I've had an orange line here, and it seems like we just sort of keep bobbing around at this orange line. Look at this. Bottomed around this orange line over here, orange line over here. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see if we can hold on to this today. It's, I think, just going to depend on broader market movements. What are institutions going to do? Are institutions going to sell? I have no idea, but we'll see. Losing 225 will probably send us back to, I don't think 221 is going to hold up much. Probably send us back to 195 pretty dang quickly. So you've got negative 2% here on NVIDIA as well. I was pretty surprised by that, especially given the bullish commentary that was coming out of Elon's Yap Trap. And then you had Texas Instruments. They had a beat, but barely moved, 1.4%. Enphase, you've got 2.5% here, which also means they didn't miss near as much as people were fearing that they might miss. And keep in mind, this is a company that is seeing sales, the sales growth cycle slowly start to pick up. Remember that energy business, which is about 16% of Tesla's gross profit, was growing pretty dang nicely as well. Good sign for Enphase. But again, 16% of the business, a smaller portion of the business. Big part of the business is, frankly, cars. And guess what? It's hard to sell cars in this environment. Google down, Google down about 4%. Holy smokes. That's a pretty big move on Google, especially, honestly, Google's earnings weren't that bad. Google, this was, it really wasn't that bad a report. So, and it was positive after the report. Now all of a sudden it's down 4%. That's pretty wild. So I do worry that we could be at that, the way I've been describing it, it wasn't last Friday or Thursday. It was the Thursday before that. So I think that's like July 10th or something like that. Let me see here. July 11th. Since July 11th, I've been talking to course members about how the market seems like it's on this sort of precipice, this sort of like triangle. And the start of earnings season, and all this talk about, people are going to rotate out of mega caps and blah, 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 whatever. All this bull crap is really just going to teeter the market, in one way or another off the top of that precipice. And what I thought was that there's a risk that we'll end up getting a Q sell-off with some early earnings, and then that Q sell-off could substantially deepen into the election, which will also end up taking small caps with it. I don't actually think you could continue to have a small caps rotation while Qs are collapsing. So I also don't think Bitcoin can go to the moon while the Qs are collapsing. So unfortunately, everything kind of gets whacked if you do end up having some form of correction. But we're back under the 476 line. Not great. IWM, let's see, Russell 2000 small cap, down about 50 bips as well. Got Palantir down about 1.3. Hood's down 61 bips. AMD's down 1.5. Meta down 2.8. Supermicro 2. Open Doors down a little bit. Ryanair. Ryanair's actually trying to pop. Okay. CrowdStrike, positive. Short semiconductor, triple leveraged ETF SOX over here. That one's going down. Yeah, I'm going to put that one at the top of the list. Let's keep an eye on this. Yeah, it seems like today might be one of those days again where I don't know. I mean, maybe you'll just have a recovery right away and things will bounce. But unfortunately, it seems like there might be a play for some shorts. So SQQQ, SOX, Tesla. I hope Enphase holds up, but It's gonna be a little difficult, I think, to rally when everything else is tanking. So I do worry about that. What is this? You've got. This is interesting. LVMH led a sell-off in global luxury stocks on Wednesday. You know, luxury stocks, I haven't read the rest of this yet, but luxury stocks have really been getting hit in part because you have fewer people out of China buying luxury goods anymore. It's, to some extent, you know, you've destroyed your consumer. And I think Hugo Boss has been getting whacked as well. So, you know, you just can't rely on Chinese growth. So it's one of the reasons I've purposefully stayed away from China. It's one of the reasons I've stayed away from investing in, you know, consumer discretionaries. And recently it's one of the reasons why I started collecting some cash. But let me see here. Before I look at that, LVMH shows luxury sectors in pain. Lowest sales growth since 2009, excluding the pandemic. Yeah. Okay. It underlines what is becoming the biggest bling bust for a decade. Yeah, aren't Rolex prices down quite a bit as well? If I remember correctly, I've seen Rolex prices that have started to roll, and I will say, there we go, watch charts. I remember, I think it was back in 2021, and there was so much inflation. Well, I mean, so much ramping up of inflation because nobody had stock of anything. Like, I remember going into, I mean, some people said that was normal. Maybe it is, that it's like their sales strategy. But the Rolex store, like, the employees were literally like, yeah, this is crazy. We don't usually have this little inventory. And so they were complaining about a lack of product to be able to sell. And then, of course, you had this massive inflation that, you know, has really taken years now to come through the system. But now it's collapsing. So let's take a look at this. All right. Let's go. Here it is. Rolex pricing. Okay, here's watch charts. I'll pull this up in just a sec here. There we go. And see market index. There's a Rolex market index. Now my Windows is the only thing where I have to unplug and replug an HDMI cable to actually get it to show up. Maybe I should just get away from HDMI and start using, what is it, SDI? Okay, this crap's not loading. Alright, waiting for the darn thing to load. Ah, there we go. Yeah. That's, it's still not up. What the hell? Okay, unplug HDMI, replug HDMI. See, this is like I want to get into cybersecurity just so I could help people unplug and replug things. Anyway, take a look at the valuations here of Rolexes, and you can see you're still up since 2019. But look at that insanity here, beginning of 22. End of 21, massive surge in Rolex pricing, up over 30,000 on sort of your average, which was up from about 17,000. Now you're almost completely normalized. How crazy is that? That's just wild. But I think that feeds into what you're seeing here with this talk about a rollover and luxury. But I find that very interesting. Okay, so same thing then also with the luge. And in fairness, I mean, one of the things I'm seeing talked about is this idea that consumers still have money to spend, they just have less, and so they're still spending, they're just being more choosy. Let's listen to this Tesla commentary for a moment.
Joining us right now on the quarter and the challenges and opportunities ahead for Tesla is John McNeil. He is the CEO of DVX. He's Tesla's former.
All right, let's see what they have to yap about regarding Tesla, and then we'll go back to talking about sort of the luxury roll-off.
Shares now down by 9%. That's about the equivalent of their year-to-date loss too. What do you think of the earnings that you saw?
Well, I think we had a compare and contrast between Tesla and GM yesterday for sure in earnings. I think the story on Tesla is what's bad for Tesla is good for the sector. There's more competition, there's lower prices, there's continued demand growth. But the story is the competition's here, and now there are dozens of compelling EVs that give customers attractive options. And because Tesla's lineup is aging, they have to discount.
This has nothing to do with other electric vehicle options. This has to do with the fact that it's hard to sell vehicles when interest rates are, 6.5% for cars.
Situation which has forced them to discount. That squeezes their margins. And yesterday we saw that they had close to $1 billion of tax credits or energy credits in both their top and bottom line. And those will shrink over time as now the other EV manufacturers increase their output.
I hear what you're saying about your concerns with Tesla, but if you look at the business and finance section of the Wall Street Journal today, they lay out Tesla's here on the left. On the right, though, it says GM delays electric vehicle build-out, a new sign of weakening demand. It sounds like it's not just Tesla that is dealing with this, John.
Yeah, I think that the GM is executing through this consumer demand. The growth is still there. GM is growing faster than the market in EVs. GM's EV volumes were up 40% year over year in the second quarter, while the industry grew 11%. So almost.
Yeah, but that's when you're going from like 5 cars to 9 cars. This is bullcrap.
GM has to execute when they've got a gas car portfolio and an EV portfolio, and they can definitely manage their production to meet the demand where the consumer's at. Which
is not necessarily with EVs at this point. John, let's talk about the future holds, because both General Motors and Tesla yesterday said that they're not going to be doing some things quite as quickly as we thought. With Elon Musk, he talked with Tesla about how those robo-taxis are not going to be coming along as quickly. They'll be unveiling one in October, but that's going to be a prototype, not broadly manufactured at this point. And yesterday, GM said that it was going to discontinue for some indefinite period of time the idea of having driverless cars too.
I think that's actually wrong. We're not postponing driverless. In fact, Cruise is out on the road. Cruise has 5 million miles of autonomous driving.
Okay, Tesla. Not Cruise, the Cruise version where there is no steering wheel. That was discontinued yesterday.
That's right. We felt like pushing a no steering wheel, no brake pedal version was further than the safety advocates and the public want to go right now. And so we're driving down costs and using a beloved EV, the Chevy Bolt, as the autonomous.
Bro, no. I don't. I'm done here. This guy's gonna talk about the Chevy Bolt now. No, I'm done. No. This guy's a knucklehead. So, okay, anyway, so going back to luxury here for a moment. Oh, by the way, on Tesla, it does look like UBS came in with a downgrade on them. It's not a surprise. You get upgrades when the stock's going up. You get downgrades when the stock's going down. Not a surprise, but something they said was probably somewhat reasonable. They suggested that some of the AI upside may at this point have been fully priced in at about 250. I don't necessarily disagree with that. It's the valuation is just, it's unfortunately you kind of rugged. Tesla got rugged of momentum by the delaying of that robotaxi event. That was bad. It's not good, and it's unfortunately it seems like the target for Elon right now is anything but selling cars, which. Like, it's understandable because it's hard to sell cars right now, but this whole, like, oh, should Tesla invest $5 billion into XAI? I get it. There's the thesis of, then the retail consumer will have exposure to XAI, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, first of all, we don't know if XAI is going to make a dime of money. It's an integrated feature on Twitter right now. And there are plenty of cheap bots that do this too. I mean, you can literally go to google.com and you get Gemini. I'm not saying, you know, one's necessarily better than the other. I'm just saying, like, we don't know that that's actually going to make money. So $5 billion could just go to, like, have more hope. But what it seems like is just another distraction. It's another, we're doing anything but cars. And again, I get it. I get it. It's hard to sell cars right now because interest rates are so high. So, you know, maybe that's an intentional pivot. But really what's happening is we're not being transparent with how bad the car sales environment is. So we're literally talking about everything but. It's like, oh, yeah, price this in as an Uber. Price this in as, you know, every human on Earth is going to have a robo-taxi or an Optimus. Price this in based on ARK's valuation, blah, 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 whatever, right? It's anything but cars right now. So I think that's a little challenging. Oh, well, I'll write that down. UBS, downgrades, calling AI mostly priced in. Okay, so what else? So, all right, let me see what some of your comments are on this. There we go. Tesla, who thought that Elon pushed robotaxi in an election year? He's too busy being a political manipulator to make Tesla buyers hate him. You know, I do still think it's pretty dumb. Like, you know, your company, I feel like, I do wonder what the, if there was a way to look up a political affiliation of Tesla buyers. That would be very interesting. It has been done. I'm not sure how accurate this is, but there are multiple sort of hits on this. So you have the Wall Street Journal did a piece on this. Yahoo's done a piece on this, and Fortune has done a piece on this. Okay, I'll take a quick look just to see. I mean, I don't always. I just gotta have a little bit of jadedness. Okay, cool. And I actually pay for Fortune. I do it for you. I do it for you, not for me. Okay, let's see here. Democrats are a large portion of Tesla buyers. For model years 22 and 23, they comprised of 40% of sales. Okay, and then you're going to have independents in there as well. 250,000 buyers. That fell just 15% at the beginning of the model year 2024. Wow. Meanwhile, the share of buyers identifying as Republicans saw a slight bump from 29% to 32%, and independents rose more, 28 to 44. Wow, interesting. I mean, who knows? Maybe less people are identifying as Democrat, but it does seem like that's a plummet in openly Democratic buyers. Openly Democratic buyers plummeted, which that makes a lot of sense. How much was that plummet again? It was from 40% to 15%. I mean, that's a really big thing. I mean, like, if this was like a 2 or 3 point difference, like the Republican number, I don't think I'd really care so much about it. But 15 divided by 40, that is a decline of 62.5%. Holy crap. That's crazy. Maybe Tesla needs to move into new markets like conservatives. Well, I think they've already done that. The problem is, you know, your more Republican-leaning individuals are like FEV. You know, not all of them. Not all of them. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of them. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, nothing wrong with that at all. What are your thoughts on the energy sector? See, first of all, this is one of the downsides with unfortunately sort of the Tesla community, because, and I'm not blaming you, I'm just saying, like, the people who pitch Tesla over and over and over again, is because, you know, the energy sector makes up 16% of Tesla's revenue. 16%. Okay, so at, you know, $230 a share or whatever, what you're really doing is you're saying, okay, well, yeah, 84% of the business might suck right now, but there's always that 16% and it's growing. Okay, fine. But let's be real, it's a drop in the bucket compared to you know, what you're up against here, which is a valuation based on everything but energy right now. I mean, you want an energy stock, go buy Enphase. You know, there's a pure play energy play. If you're really excited about energy, you go buy Enphase. You could also buy Tesla. I'm not saying you can't have both, but you know, I do wonder how many people who are very excited about the energy sector are actually also investing in some of the other sectors. Your First Solars, your you know, Solar Edge, Enphase, whatever. Did Elon say robotaxi? No, 1010 for robotaxi event. Car dealerships, they're struggling bad. I got a few buddies who are in a car business. It's super bad. It's like an auto crash is imminent unless they drop rates. Yeah. I don't disbelieve that. You know, the whole politicization, you know, just hurts. It adds insult to injury, I should say. But I think this is interesting. So 2022, 2023 model car buyer or Tesla buyers were 40% or 40 identified as a Democrat 40% of the time. Okay, by 2020, it's just crazy. By 2024, that number fell 62.5% down to just 15%. That's crazy. And then 32% Republican and 44% independent in 2024. Yeah, so it's sort of like you just lost a substantial portion of that Democratic fleet. XAI is literally the most controversial social media app. Well, I think you mean X, but okay, that's fine. I don't understand why 5 Bill would go to XAI when Tesla classes as an AI company by everyone to keep Elon happy. Would have to go. I don't want XAI. I'm okay with Tesla using it for Optimus, but it's a gimmick right now. Of course it's a gimmick. It's a gimmick to try to prop up the shares because they're going down. So reschedule Robotaxi Day could be a momentum gainer? No! It was momentum destruction. You like, to get to 290, and we've talked about this. You know, I said it before the earnings. It's like the Robotaxi event being delayed was a momentum killer. No, Lenny, you're wrong. And you could go watch my videos, or you could track my public and fully open, transparent fund, and you could literally see that I've been trimming over 50% of our Tesla position because my belief that the momentum had gotten killed by the delay of the Robotaxi event, and that Q2 was a positive kitchen sink quarter. You know, there's people that are like, oh, Kevin just talks out of both sides of his mouth. It's like, then just look at what I'm doing. You know, or you could like literally also go through the archive of our course member live streams where we talk about this. I mean, I literally showed that post yesterday where I'm like, I'm bearish going into this. It's right here. Right here on screen. Me talking about Robotaxi delayed and killed momentum instantly. Look, posted yesterday, 9:25. No edits. You know? It's so this idea that I didn't take a stand, you're a jackass for saying that. Yeah, I think it's just trying to like say something popular on social media. That's so wrong. I'm waiting to get an even better deal on Hughes Model Y. I think you can. I think you can. Let's see here. As an owner of an EV, I now feel qualified to have an opinion. EV isn't there in most cities. Even when there are chargers, they are vandalized. Hard to get on board to So if I lived in somewhere like Manhattan, well, I don't know that I'd have a car, but there's no way in hell I'd have an EV. It's so freaking annoying just to get around. I couldn't imagine trying to get charged. So I think that's a very fair argument. I like that a lot. So what is this? It's interesting, like my head and shoulders, says Gull. Let's see what you got. Must be on the day chart. No, hour chart. Where are you seeing it? Is this what you're trying to say here? Boy, that's a weird head and shoulders, but okay. I don't know. Maybe you have to tell me what time frame. How much of a momentum play can we get going into 1010? Okay, so that's the follow-on thesis is that, oh, did you get more momentum? Well, not necessarily, because you don't have the kitchen sink quarter, the good quarter, the good kitchen sink, right? You lost that. So now what you have is, unfortunately, rougher quarters that you're going into the robotaxi event with. So nobody wants to drive an EV. I mean, I disagree with that. I think EVs are pretty fun. Solar installers on the Northeast reluctantly bring up Tesla Powerwall because so many buyers explicitly do not want to support Tesla because of Elon. Wait, what? Solar installers in the Northeast are reluctantly bring up Tesla Powerwall because many buyers explicitly. When you say reluctantly bring it up, why do they bring it up at all? I guess when somebody reluctantly brings something up, they're like, I'm going to mention it, even though you probably don't want it anyway. Oh, really? 3 bids said the same thing. Oh, so you're getting solar quotes. Can third parties sell Teslas? The Tesla Powerwalls, though? Can third parties sell Tesla Powerwall? Tesla tends to be less expensive for 1 to 2 Powerwalls than third-party installers because third-party looking for the only interested in Tesla. I don't know if you can get them through a third party. Oh yeah, a Tesla authorized installer can do it. Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Well, because I was gonna say that there could be this implicit bias to say, oh no, the Tesla Powerwall sucks because they don't sell them. Any non-Tesla authorized salesman is gonna shit on it. I know, it makes sense. But no. It looks like there are plenty Tesla authorized installers. But very interesting. I want to keep looking at this here. So this here says, to replace Teslas, Democrats instead chose. This is very interesting. Okay, to Democrats instead chose the Cadillac. I don't even know what this is. Cadillac Lyriq. Oh, I've seen the Hyundai Ioniq and the Santa Fe Hybrid and Mercedes EQE. Interesting. I've personally seen a lot of people pick the RAV4. Politics of consumerism. Anti-woke cultural leader. Democrats still make up a larger percentage of EV buyers generally. All right. I want to see what other commentary here. Solar is a gimmick. Robot is a gimmick. I actually don't think solar is a gimmick. I'm a big fan of solar. I have solar. I have a home battery as well. It did. My Jordan Elon video. Somebody tried copywriting it. I don't even know who this company is. I'll tell you. Let's see here. I thought it was a very boring interview until the end, and people got really mad at me for saying that. I don't really care, though, because I'm just going to kind of always tell you how I feel. Copyright. Who was it? Try to see who this was. See details. It says... I don't know. It was like SVG video or something. I don't know that it's worth having a fight over. Okay. Please run for governor. Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, this is not going to happen. It's going to take a very long time to get to the robotaxi. So, okay. Do you think Tesla will break lower than 180? No, I don't know if it has to be that. I think sub 200, like the 195 areas is what I'd be targeting. Yeah. Yeah. Daily and weekly and NASDAQ. Oh. Daily and NASDAQ. Oh, for the Qs. Okay, let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. No, this is a nice setup. I totally agree with that. Q3 does look worse, yeah. How much XP until 99 finance? I think I'm about 92. Level 92 finance, so basically I'm halfway there. Halfway to 99. I'm a conservative and absolutely zero interest in an electric car, but now I'd want to buy one just to support Elon. Well, that's nice. So your icon is a picture of being in jail with a money bag. And you're a crook. Nice. Kevin, why don't you have a Cybertruck? I don't really drive that much. Let's see here. Solar installers don't want to be under Tesla because Tesla takes a cut. They want to sell the panels installed directly. Yeah, that sounds potentially reasonable. You know, another big issue is this is probably the biggest. Is look what Jimbo tweeted. So Jim Cramer this morning tweeted, "This chart is a major reason why you want to be long Tesla," and I wrote, "No." Speaking of which,
it's going to be autonomous. You want to know what's going to happen with robots. You want to know what they're going to do with energy to the grid. David, you got everything you wanted on this call. If you wanted to hear about great auto numbers, well, go to GM. Oh,
yeah.
no,
GM was crushed yesterday in the stock market.
Adam Jonas killed GM.
Yeah, even though it had strong numbers. I have in my time, but Tesla is going to be down. You're right. Listen, I advise anybody who's interested in just the future to talk or to listen to these calls. Now, with a great amount of at least skepticism, perhaps, in some of the targets and some of the numbers that Mr. Musk shares. Because he does tend to be a bit overly optimistic.
And he said that at one point.
And he does. He admits it in terms of when the robo-taxi or when full self-driving will be ready. They're now coming out with 12.5. He says that's a huge increase. But he talks about governments acting rationally, almost saying, well, when the number of accidents by humans is clearly in excess of what full self-driving would be, everybody will just allow full self-driving. That doesn't really seem to work in the real world,
You say
does
the
it?
federal rules.
Yeah, well, just change.
Yeah. But look,
That may be a bit optimistic.
I think you're absolutely right, David. I mean, look, this was a quarter. The stock is down much more than it was when the company reported, but this is a quarter where the conference call just said to me, all right, look, we'll do well with auto, but you've got to start thinking bigger than auto. And
he's been saying that for some time, as you well know.
But this time they had no auto.
No, they didn't. Right. And the margins, obviously, are what our people are focused on, and they did not come in where there was a hope for. We all know about the price cutting that's taken place, the increased competition, the perhaps decreased demand, at least. And, for example, his former home state of California, which is a huge market for EVs. You have to wonder whether his political tilt is impacting in some way. Sometimes I do wonder on the sales front. But so many other parts of the business. Musk once again reiterating, if you're interested in building cars, don't buy this stock. We're about full autonomy. We're about robots, and we're about storage, energy storage. And he spoke at length about all of those. You know, I love when he gets into things like valuation numbers. No other CEO ever talks that way.
They don't.
And then actually, one of my favorites is it's several times that number in terms of talking about overall the valuation as a result of how many robots they'll sell. And then he says, I mean, at this point, I'm not sure what money even means.
But, you know, he said something, I love this great. He said, Carl, one of the great moments in the call was that he said, we're all going to have robots that do all the things that we don't want to do. Now, that's not that far away, what Jensen Huang says from NVIDIA. By the way, NVIDIA, with a big shout out, they have 50,000 NVIDIA chips in this one plant. Oh, he actually has to take a shot at NVIDIA, too, because he says he needs more. He can't get more because it's such demand, so we have to make our own. And
right,
of course,
Dojo is their own.
Dojo.
It basically says we're not, they're in such demand. I think we have that sound.
You want to play that?
Sure, we'll play.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh.
What we are seeing is that the demand for NVIDIA hardware is so high that it's often difficult to get the GPUs. There just seems this, I guess I'm quite concerned about actually being able to get state-of-the-art NVIDIA GPUs when we want them. I think this therefore requires that we put a lot more effort on Dojo in order to ensure that we've got the training capability that we need. So we are going to double down on Dojo, and we do see a path to being competitive with NVIDIA.
And there it is. I mean, over time, he's basically saying those chips are going to be in such demand that we need to have our own.
You know, we built the Blackwell 200. That's the new iteration. He's got his game plan for it. I mean, Carl, this is one of those calls that that the stock market doesn't like because it's too far out. But there are investors like Cathie Wood that embrace this very far out view, of which he was glad to share with. But in general, I mean, I listen to it and I just say to myself, I think it should be enough, but it's not at 176. It's now up much more. And there are people, I mean, I know people who sell it today. He would just be then completely as contemptuous toward them as he was toward Mary Barra and GM last time.
It turns out that the robo-taxi delay was not fake news, as he suggested. Bernstein does today, Jim. If you believe what Elon is saying about his robo-taxi, sell Uber. If you live in the real world, buy Uber.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. At one point, it's actually someone confuses the Uber role versus the... I'm sorry, the Airbnb role. And he's like, say, listen, the Airbnb role, that's who we are, you think we're the Uber, and the whole call was so theoretical. It was like a really great seminar. Like the seminar that you wanted to take, but you were afraid that the professor would yell at you, so you kind of skipped out. But that was a great seminar. It was a tremendous seminar.
Listen, listening to him, it's one of his great superpowers. He can speak with such enormous specificity about different parts of the business and different industries. And then he obviously also makes these long-term projections that seem insane, frankly, at least to some. On energy storage also. He's talking, most people don't understand just how much demand there will be for energy storage because
I agree with that, by the way, in the longer term. It's just that, again, the problem is if you're paying, $30 or $40 a share for the energy business, you're paying a lot of money for the car business and hope.
Because of the gaps, because they go low, then they go high, low, high, and they aren't producing as much as they could at steady state. So when you get storage that's available to you, they can just store their energy that they've produced. And that business, by the way, has been a significant growth driver for the company.
Yes, it's really big off a small base. But GE Vernova
Very small base.
Talked about a very similar thing, Carl, that the fastest growing part of the U.S. economy may be the demand for electricity. And if that's the case, then again, you've got a good reason to buy Tesla, not sell it.
Yeah, you're all over GE Vernova today in Nantucket and
Well,
wind
they got the
and
hearings
birds.
tonight. They got the hearing tonight, and they've got unbelievable. The side that understands some of the issues with windmill has an incredible series of.
Okay, I'm back off that. I just wanted to hear their take on Tesla. It's a little scary hearing how bullish Jim is now on Tesla. But anyway, let's see here. So, okay, back to the luxury talk. I wanted to touch on that briefly. Margins down at LVMH from 27.4% on operating margin down to 25.6%. Lowest sales growth since 2009. Violent swing of customers in China going to shop in Japan. That's really interesting. Chinese are going shopping in Japan, though probably because of the with a weaker currency. How interesting. Okay, industry downturn is being felt because of major drivers of demand. New shoppers are more cautious. U.S. middle-class spenders remain under pressure. Overall growth rate is lagging. Blah, blah, blah. Hermes, the maker of Birkin bags, is also expected to be resilient. I didn't know Hermes now make... did they buy Birkin? Those Birkin bags. I remember that was a big fad there for a moment. Birkin bags. I feel like Hermes must have bought them. They were such a fad on the internet, and people were like stocking up on these things. Oh, that's crazy. I don't know. Maybe it's still a thing. So, okay. All right. Well, what else here? Blackstone Mortgage REIT cuts dividend. Ooh. What do we got here? Mortgage REIT sounds painful, by the way. Let's see here. So... Blackstone Mortgage Trust, which provides financing for commercial real estate, is cutting its dividend by about a fourth. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Commercial... 24%. Okay. Under mounting stress with higher interest rates, falling property values, and commercial, blah, 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 blah. That's fine. Okie dokie. What else? I changed my mind. The Fed needs to cut rates now. Bill Dudley, Bloomberg opinion columnist. I've been in the higher for longer camp. The facts have changed, so I changed my mind. The Fed should cut, preferably next week. Yeah, right, dude. Fed's efforts to cool the economy are having a visible effect. Wealthy are still consuming. More troubling is the 3-month average employment. Okay, the SOM rule. Oh, okay, so he's going to do a whole opinion piece on the SOM rule? Bro, this is like old news. We've been talking about the SOM rule since the jobs data came out at the beginning of the month. Alright. Atlanta, let's see here. What's our Atlanta Fed GDP? We got... Oh, today. Today is our next Atlanta Fed GDP release. So we'll see where that moves from 2.7. Oh, and retail inventories came out. A little higher than expected on retail inventories. Wholesale inventories came in lower. And we are going to get PMIs at 625. Oh, great. So if you're trading, be careful. You have a 645 catalyst. What do we have here? Ryanair. Flying 33% more traffic than pre-COVID, but still expect revenue to fall per ticket. Wow. Pricing will be down 5% plus in Q3. That's interesting. I'll write that down. Ryanair. Flying flying 33% more than pre-COVID. Fares will be down 5% plus in Q3. Yeah, that's a good chunk. It's a good deflation. That's like 20% on an annualized basis, eh? All right. Bank of Canada interest rate announcement, 30 minutes would be interesting if there's another cut. Ooh. So he is right. Fed is always late. They should cut next week, but they won't. Yeah, no, there's no way. There's no way. Okay, let me try. Let me look at the what's going on with interest rates right now. So 6% chance of a cut in July. And wow, you're now pricing in 1.07 for September. So it's like you're starting to kind of ramp. Oh, and you're starting to price in more cuts for January too. Almost, you're knocking on the door of 4 cuts almost for January. Interesting. Okay, how's the bond market? Barely moving right now on the longer end. The 10 years just down 2.5 basis points, but it's been sitting at 4.2 for a while here. And if I go to the 2-year, $4.4. Oh, we're only like 19 basis points right now on the inverted yield curve. Is that true? The 2-year must have tanked. I think it did. It did. Oh my gosh, yeah. The yield curve's going straight up right now. Wow, we haven't seen this level of steepness since January and October. Wow, it's happening. So, the 2-year, okay, that's also somewhat recessionary, right? Look at this. So, the 2-year plummeted as well in January, but since April 29th was a near peak. So, April 29th, the 2-year Treasury was, what was it, 5%? Yeah, 5%. Now it sits at 4.4. The 10-year sits at 4.21. 210 curve now sits at negative 19 basis points. Highest. Highest? Yeah, highest since January. So why does that often happen? That would be, this could flag a more imminent risk of recession. Not to fearmonger, but as markets price in recession, how should we say this? I mean, basically, the short end of the curve plummets, right? The short end of the curve plummets rapidly, and the long end stays up / more stable. Interesting. And that was just really in the last few days here, because I still remember we were like 40 basis points inverted here for a while. Let me see here. That was really just in the last, okay, we haven't been 40 since the beginning of July. We were 50 at the end of June. But yeah, in about the last 3 days, we've really skyrocketed. Interesting. All right. Ugh. Long end stays up for Sarah, somebody writes. I don't understand. Let's see. For those who would like to hedge against recession and aren't in BTC or ETH. What? Oh, TLT. Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, TLT I think is the 20-year, right? Isn't TLT the 20-year? TLT. Yeah, it is. So if you really want recession, you probably want a shorter term one. If you were betting that the 2-year was going to crash, right? So let's go to like iShares bond ETF. And then we get a leverage one. I'm sure they have one. So like there's a iShares 7 to 10 year. It's called IEF. And I wonder if there's an even shorter option. Let's see here. Leveraged. Okay, what is this? Let's see here. TMF. 20-year bull. It looks like the lowest one is really 7 to 10. TYD, UST, whatever the other one. I think it was IEF. Interesting. All right. All right, let's see how the market's moving here. Okay, so it looks like Tesla tried recovering above 225. Then you've got... Oh, look at that. Enphase just had a little pop-up. Google's still suffering, so it's going to drag the Qs down. How about NVIDIA? Yeah, NVIDIA's trying to make a move. I'll write down some of the faves we're going to watch today. We'll watch NVIDIA, obviously BTC. Obviously, we got to watch the Qs. BTC's rising, which is good. Tesla, Enphase. How are the others doing? UPS down another 66 basis points. Hood, Palantir, AMD, Meta. Wow. Supermicro. What else is going to be a big mover today? Apple. That is Nike. Ubiquity. Wow. Trade Desk wanted to give up about 3% after those Google earnings. Really? Interesting. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got over here.
To more of the results, but the CFO, we talked this morning, they're saying no weakness amongst the consumer in terms of paying their bills or anything like that.
That was really good. Good call.
Yeah. Generally positive.
I didn't want to say good things, but I just did.
You're such a complicated man.
I love the Tesla call, down 20. Okay,
the
really.
Tesla call.
NVIDIA is the big winner last night, so that's
Ben's
only
Alphabet.
down 3. Right? NVIDIA is the big winner. And enough with the Jonas GM. Yesterday he kills it, and today he kills it?
Well, today was
You never do that.
he was a cautionary note, and then today the downgrade, which we'll get to, along with JPM doing a positive catalyst on Apple. Speaking of mobile phones,
Yep.
We'll get Kramer's Mad Dash and the opening bell after a break.
That was boring.
Around this yet. How much exposure do regional banks have, and what does the quality of that exposure look like? Because even in a distressed market, which we're not there yet, but even in a distressed market, there's going to be quality among and along the commercial properties and who's holding what. And, in general, the more sophisticated players tend to be savvy about holding higher quality. So knowing nothing, I would say that I would be concerned about the regional banks. But this will unfold, I think, hopefully slowly and not quickly. I mean, we don't want a crisis on our hands, but hopefully this will unfold slowly. There will be a wave of defaults. We'll be able to manage through it as an industry. And hopefully the folks who are holding the lower quality properties will be able to get some help. But, that's, I think, best case scenario in my view.
All right, Nir, that's a good place to leave it. Always great to speak to you. Hope to do it again soon. That is Nir Kesar of Bloomberg Opinion. Now, coming up, we'll take a look at the companies making the most social buzz today in our Social Climber segment. Up next, this is Bloomberg.
Yeah. Okay, so Bitcoin's rallying. Look at that Bitcoin move right here. And go out on the day chart. Actually, hour chart will be a little easier. Nicely above 63.8. Somewhat rejected by 69. And now we're at 66.7. Nice 1 minute move, though, here. Kind of bullish on the day. It's not really moving the Qs. So it doesn't seem like you could really go up on the Qs here. So, you know, is it... But this has been a nice trend up right here on Tesla. So above that 225, this is the 225 is just really your longer term trend line. It was the 230 line, and over time it just sort of sinks, right? Because if you zoom out to the week chart, you could see that giant orange line. And so we had our little breakout there for a moment. The question is now, can we hold above that? And again, that's the 225 right now. We shall see. Ooh, look at that. Qs want to keep it. So I wonder if Tesla will go up and the Qs or SOX down. That would be really interesting. Well, SOX, I guess, would go up in that case. Okay. 5 minutes to the bell. Sean thinks Tesla's going to lose at least 20 to 30 points at open. BTC conference coming up. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about this Bitcoin conference. And I think it's like anytime there's like a conference, people are like, oh, you know, Bitcoin's going to go up because of the conference. Like, bro, it's a conference. Like, what are they going to say? I don't know. I think I have an idea what they might say. I think it could sound something like this.
Hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. What's up, big
Oh no. Oh no. No. Oh man. So jeez. All right. Okay. What else is moving? Oh, what's in the... let's see here. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, fix that. All right. Very well then. Now we wait. We have got about 2-ish minutes to go. Somebody here says DJT, a buy for a quick bounce. DJT. Somebody says AMC's halted. Just trying to get a quick bounce on DJT. How are you gonna pull that off? The line you're looking for is 35.10. In fairness, you probably got a little bit of a move down here because you're pricing in that Harris has a chance. And you're saying AMC. Oh, you're right. Well, now that's interesting. Let me see. They're gonna halt it through the opening bell? That kind of sucked. Okay. Oh. News pending. News pending. So I guess we'll find out. AMC. Let's see. Oh, here we go. AMC preliminary revenue 1.03 billion. AMC shares halted as they report preliminary results. Adjusted EBITDA 29 mil. The estimate was 14.7. Cash and cash equivalents about 770 million. Loss per share about 10 cents. Preliminary net loss to be about 32.8 million versus 8.8 of profit, 8.6 of profit. Continue to be confident about a movie rebound in the second half of 2024. Okay.
Well, I always like to say it. Good luck, everybody.
Let's find out what entertainment we shall face today.
What will happen to the stock market? I'm very, very curious, as you should be, too.
Here we go.
I mean, the French fry revolution. I thought that was July 14th. It turned out to be July 24th.
Let's get the opening bell here in the CNBC Real-Time Exchange at the big board. It's Infrastructure Capital celebrating the launch of the InfraCap Small Cap Income ETF at the NASDAQ. Financial software maker OneStream, backed by KKR, celebrating its IPO, and the CEO will be on closing bell overtime later today.
Now that company is bringing the infrastructure, you go long that and you short the big cap infrastructure, and then suddenly you're really happy because you think you're really smart. It's really hard to do. This is all algo driven. I don't mind that. A lot of trading is algorithm, but if you can buy a small cap infra and sell a big cap infra, even, I don't know what people think quant is too big. Quant is very good, but that's the way.
Boring. All right. Oh, I guess I forgot to change it to the actual bell. Look at this. Look at this. Enphase just had this gap up at the open to 113, which is really interesting. And then you have Tesla, which is dropping. You have NVIDIA, which is roughly stable. So roughly stable on NVIDIA. Roughly stable on BTC. Stable on the Qs. Doesn't look like things are going to get way worse here. Enphase is now dropping some of that enthusiasm. SOX up 4%. Bitcoin's moving up. Q's moving up over here. Okay. Wow. Google's still down 5% and dropping. Amazon's down on this. Wow. Okay. Yeah. NVIDIA rising now. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Let's listen to Jimbo's opening comments.
I praise San Francisco. You can't replace that. Go ahead, Mr. Embarcadero.
Wait, what was
Never
that?
mind. Just give it to me. Hit me,
What
French
do you
fry.
want to get hit with?
Hit me, French fry.
What do you feel like getting hit with? I'll hit with AT&T. See if I can get a smile out of you.
Okay.
Focus on him. We go in real tight on him. Let's see if he's not going to crack us. Oh, there it is. Jim never has a nice thing to say for AT&T. But
No,
by the way, not necessarily.
Look, they had additions. What was the video additions for Comcast versus this?
They added 239,000 fiber net adds. They have 8.8 million fiber subs, 40% penetration. The number of people always focus on, though, would be postpaid phone net adds, 419,000, and churn across the industry.
I don't really care about AT&T. I don't have much like for these companies. All right, let me see here. All right, so I'm curious to see what AMC does when it opens. It's still suspended for news pending. Tesla's now down about almost 10%. Jeez, Lord. Amazon 1.3. Where's Meta stable as well? Meta, super microcomputer, ARM's dropping. That's interesting. ARM, really? Okay, that's fascinating. So I'm gonna put that one up top of the list too. And then now the Qs are wanting to roll. It's not loading. Yeah, there you go. Now the Qs are upset. Interesting. And then how's SOX? Well, if Nvidia rolls, SOX will go up. Let's see, SOX. 4.25. See, that'll spread your risk a little bit. Enphase is rolling over. It had sort of this like buy at the open euphoria. And it looked like people were just putting in market orders to buy the sucker. So it lost its 113 again. Tesla under 10 now, 10.3. Ugh. It's not good. And then the Qs continue their little rollover here. Okay, let's listen here. I'm going to go to Doomberg in a moment, too.
And if that's the case, David, then Tim Cook's the winner and all these guys are losers.
Right. They may not be rooting for a big upgrade cycle is the point because of all the subsidies that have to go along with it from the carriers themselves. But it's a big question as we head into the fall now,
especially with
the next model getting ready.
Apple is so important today because we had some incredibly positive notes about Apple. And if Apple can hold, then that would be the Mag 7 that would try to... That's the one that if Apple can hold, that's a better read on Mag 7.
It's also the smallest drawdown of the 7 so far. But JP Morgan today does say, we expect Apple to reassure investors that the upcoming AI replacement cycle, earmarked to begin in fiscal 25, is leveraging a more robust launch pad for phone.
Yeah, and I think that's very important. By the way, Apple not hit by the outage, CrowdStrike, because Apple technology was not hurt by what happened with CrowdStrike. George, by the way, Kurt reminding us that the vast majority of the systems are operating properly. They continue to work shoulder to shoulder, of course, with their customers. And there is a report out on the website if you want more. CrowdStrike's been up the last 2 days, but little teeny-weeny profit taking.
Final thought from me here on AT&T again, which is sort of an outperformer this morning, still up 3.8%. Not really an impact from this affordable connectivity program that is no longer in effect. This helps subsidizing the broadband and wireless bills of a number of customers throughout the country. Verizon got hit on it.
Huge.
Comcast as well has said it may be hit in the next quarter. Charter shares. AT&T has said earlier this year they just don't have that many of those customers, so not as much of an impact. Guys, Alphabet's down 5%. It's taking Meta with it down 3%. And to your point, mega cap tech is basically weaker.
Look, sometimes it just comes together in a way that just says Alphabet is up 30% for the year coming in. They're spending too much money in the data center. Vertiv, NVIDIA spending too much money, getting too much money. You've got Musk saying, listen, we're paying NVIDIA in order because there's a shortage. I mean, look, there's so many reasons to sell these stocks, and so they just decide, you know what?
Well, I don't know if there's so many reasons to sell them. I mean, many of them sell at relatively reasonable multiples and still have very strong growth rates. So that would be the reason to own them.
Right. But you got to let them have these periodic squalls. Now, there's some double tops in
the multiples, to be fair, have gone up.
Oh, absolutely. Look,
and it's not like
anybody who does it, look, if you take profits in Alphabet up 30%, you could say, look, I don't even care what they said. I just think it's prudent to sell something.
You once wrote 20% gains. There's nothing wrong with ringing a register.
Nothing wrong with it at all. And, my Travel Trust owns many of these.
Okay, Q's, I'm watching closely here. Enphase moving again. It went down to about 6% there for a moment, moving up again. Tesla's right there at about the 10% line, so it's trying to recover off of 221. I'm actually surprised it's bouncing at 221. I didn't think that 221 was a very robust line. The Qs are slowing their fall. Like, they're not dropping as fast as they had been. So I'm not sure if we're going to bottom here on the Qs or what. And NVIDIA is also trying to suggest some form of a bottom here. So mostly I'm just looking at the rate of decline too, right? It's not just the 1 minute. It's the rate of decline. Like you had the big drop, and then your candles are getting tighter, tighter, tighter. Now, are we going to continue to go down? I don't know. Don't know. Yeah, a little green candle there, Tesla, followed by red. BTC wants to be bullish. SOX still moving. It added about 1% since we were looking at it last. And, wow, the Russell went positive. Look at that. 9 bips on the Russ. Okay, what's the big mover here? ARM. I mean, end phase. We know that. Coinbase 1.4. Tesla still down 9.5. Trade Desk 6%. Wow. Ouch. Rivian down 4. Nvidia 3.5. Huh. Interesting. All right, try the Doomers. Let us try the Doomers.
Where you will have the opportunity. But again, I think it's going to depend on how we see earnings season play out, and it's going to depend on how stocks are reacting into earnings season. And I think we do have a political uncertainty with the elections in November. That's going to be an overhang on the market as well, right? That might have longer term policy implications for your portfolio that you have to think about. But in the shorter term, we also might see some more macro, I would say, headwinds in terms of the markets. And really, active management has had to suffer through those market headwinds for quite a while now.
Olivia, one thing I don't believe you mentioned in your list of exciting investment ideas at this point is artificial intelligence, or at least you played up other parts of that thesis. You have the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index, almost every stock in the red right now. It's down another 2% nearly today. NVIDIA is down more than 3% starting the day as well. Do you think that the ripple effects, the weakness you're seeing, for example, today in tech, has kind of an increased effect here on the semis, especially when you see kind of that negative sentiment feeding through in recent weeks?
So it's funny you say I don't mention AI, because I think it's almost like investors take it for a given now. AI is across every single one of your investments in your portfolio, whether you even know it or not, right? And it's beyond just investing in the inputs into AI. So looking at the semiconductor, looking at big tech, it's across every single sector and industry that I mentioned as well, because that's how the innovation is happening, the application of AI towards those sectors. And so, we are looking at how to invest in AI across a multitude of areas. But again, it's not a shorter term earnings season call, right? This is a 10, 15, 20-year trend that investors are really going to have to get right in their portfolio and pick their spots to be able to make money from how AI is going to transform sectors and how fast AI can transform certain sectors.
Olivia, we thank you so very much for your time. That is Olivia Doriwala of the Rock Creek Group. And coming up, the analyst action that you need to know this morning, that's up next in our top calls. Stick with us. This is Bloomberg.
No thanks. I most certainly will not be sticking around.
I got.
Although
this is a picture of the Grand Teton. Tell me that isn't the Disney chart. Look, Grand Teton. I mean,
it's not going to show on TV.
Maybe we get this on.
This is a visual medium where we need the picture ahead of time.
See it and say it.
No, okay, look, but the Grand Teton is the exact same chart. And by the way, it doesn't stop here. It goes low.
So you're not a fan of Disney?
No, I happen to like Disney. There's Grand Teton.
But all right, but this question as to whether.
All right. This is nonsense. What's going on? So what's going on is Tesla is retesting the 221 line. Losing this brings you to under 2K. So you don't want that to happen. Unless you're short, I suppose. I'm not short. End phase looks like it's going to be kissing the 113 line. If end phase can hold 113, 119 should be in the bag. I don't know if it can muster the energy to keep going from there. Okay. All right. Now Tesla's giving up 221. Okay, losing 221 is not good. Now you're gonna have some stop losses that are gonna fire on people who tried buying calls. Like if somebody who bought calls on this sucker right here, they're gonna set some stop losses under this line. So you're probably gonna see a big fat red candle. But it does look like you have a broader, like the Qs keep going down too. SOX keeps going up. Remember, SOX, very risky, triple leveraged, short semiconductor ETF. Yeah. And what else? I don't know what else. this, I'm just watching these Tesla candles here. Okay. Did you get your little stop loss candle or no? No. Well, maybe. Anyway, that's my thesis on it. You could get a sort of a broader market sell down here as well. And I think that's what's contributing to stocks running like crazy right now. I think if you go for end phase, you probably need more time. Like, I don't think you want to bet like this Friday or next Friday on end phase. But remember, the positive story of Tesla is literally describing end phase's entire business, right? So, you know, that's kind of cool. That's something to keep in mind. All right. What else? Then DJT rotated down a little bit more. You've got ARM just dropped 5%, but now it's trying to recover. Nvidia's here at 4%, trying to recover as well. Okay. Oh, lost my headphone for some reason. There we go. Okay, cool. So, oof. This one keeps going. I gotta get my headphone back on. What? Oh, did AMC open? Oh, AMC? It's just now opening. Okay. ARM bouncing. Okay. A little bit of a bounce here. Ooh, that's a nice bounce on Nvidia. Can you get that sort of bounce on Tesla? Oof. Oof, it keeps bleeding. Bitcoin's bullish. Okay. This is Amazon, by the way. Look at Amazon. It's just like skyrocketing right now. But the Qs are not. And neither is Tesla. Oof. Losing 221's not good. Okay. Oh, did we just get PMIs? Let me see.
For the second consecutive time, 25 basis points down to 4.5%. S&P Global July preliminary reads hitting the wires on manufacturing, not good news. Back below 50, 49.5, the lowest of the year, lowest since December of last year. If we look at services, a completely different story. 56. 56 takes us to the highest level to March of 22, March of 22. So that is cooking in grease and, of course, affected the composite in a positive way. The composite is 55.0, and 55.0 would be the highest read since April of 22. We still have new home sales at the top of the hour and 70 billion five-year notes to hit the auction block at 1 Eastern. Squawk on the Street will return after a short break.
Alright. Okay. One sec.
The bond report is brought to you by PIMCO, global leader in active fixed income.
All right. So, what else is going on here? The Qs keep going. This is interesting. The Qs keep going. Well, they're sticking around this sort of 1.8 to 1.9 level to the downside. But Nvidia is recovering. Yeah, see, look at this. Nvidia's really been recovering since about 117. Which makes sense from a sentiment point of view. And then you've got, let's see here. Tesla, wow. Yeah, it's still going after having lost that that 220. Oh, now you're getting fatter candles down too. End phase was about 112. It's starting to recover. Looks like you had a little bit of a volume sell here for a moment as you got rejected. It's almost that's essentially a perfect rejection there at 113.40. So it looks like you're gonna try to run to that line again here. We'll see. And wow, Tesla, jeez. Okay, so yeah, it just wants to keep going, and then Nvidia's recovering. Got to give it to the semis here. With Google also recovering. Solid recovery there on Google. Meta 3.5% down. So Amazon and Google are recovering. Apple down. Let me write this down. Meta, Google, and Nvidia. Looks like people are sort of by the dipping on this. I don't know how robust that'll be, but I guess we'll find out. End phase back to 7%. As okay, now you got your first green candle here in a while on Tesla. Interesting. Look at that. All right. Let's see. Let's go back to the Doomers for a moment.
Quick ideas for Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign.
Come on.
In the focus of Wall Street.
What? Where'd it go? Oh, what happened there?
Eastern. See.
Come on, buddy.
The Principal Room, brought to you by Principal Asset Management.
They went to commercial. That's all that happened. I get it. Okay. Oh, boy. So, okay, here goes Nvidia again. Well, it's starting to, at least. Starting to head back down. I don't know if you're going to have enough of a broad sell-off here to keep that going or what. I mean, it's just a start of the end of that sort of uptrend there. Huh. Qs are still down almost a full 2%. I mean, we were up 1% yesterday, but now we're down 2%. Wow, AMC just tanked 7%. I wonder if that's taking GME with it at all. 2.7%. Oh. Rough day for anyone with Tesla calls, that's for sure. It is rough. That's a big, big, big drop. Okay. What else? Nvidia? Oh, Nvidia wants to go back. Can't fight Nvidia. It's a tough one. Tough one to fight. The safer option, I think, out of for shorting, out of like going long SQQQ or SOX, the safer one I think is SQQQ, because you don't have so much exposure to the Nvidia rally, which always seems to happen. Nobody gives up on this company. It's crazy. It's just wild. All right. Let's see here. So we got through PMIs. Manufacturing came in at a miss. Services came in at a beat, and the composite beat slightly. Okay.
S&P 500 sinking right now, down more than 1%. The NASDAQ 100, I'm going to go ahead and call that a plunge. We are nearing a 2% intraday drawdown on your big tech index. Meanwhile, the small caps, your relative outperformer, they were earlier, as Matt Miller said, but now sinking a little bit in sympathy. You can see the Russell 2000 down about 0.3%, Sonali.
And we want to switch gears, talk about the Wall Street beat here. The Wall Street's top Democratic donors are on a mission that is raise a lot of money and fast. They have sprung into action to fill the campaign for Kamala Harris to help close the fundraising gap between her and her Republican opponent, Donald Trump. For more, we are joined by politics editor Laura Davison in Washington. And you think about the meeting that was called on, this big hitter meeting. You had Center View's Blair Efron, Brad Karp of Paul Weiss, Mark Lazary, Ray McGuire of Lazard, and of course others invited like Cravath's Faiza Saeed, Roger Altman. What's to come of this? Is part of this, Laura, the worry here that not enough money will be raised fast enough given how much has already been spent?
Yes, that is the huge worry. Democrats right now are going into this fight with Kamala Harris with less money in the bank than Republicans, and they have little time to kind of organize and get going. They had, sort of the Biden network. That network had largely been tapped. There was a lot of malaise, particularly over the past month, as donors said, look, we're not going to give any more. But Democratic donors are realizing there's a moment right now that people are excited about Harris and want to give, and realizing they only have 3.5 months to raise more money. So they're looking at how can we get out there and do this quickly. So they're looking at things like, can we do Zoom calls? There's a Zoom call that the campaign actually just scheduled for a couple weeks from now that is from anywhere from $25 to over $6,000 to attend, because they realize they need to they don't have time. Harris both has to do her job as vice president and campaign, and they just can't get her physically to enough fundraisers in the next several weeks.
I saw a tweet from a venture capitalist, Matt Turk, Laura. He says Silicon Valley is pivoting from Trump to Harris even faster than it pivoted from crypto to AI. Is that true? Because of all the big names out of Silicon Valley that we've been talking about, Andreessen and Horowitz and Thiel and Musk, all of those names are giving to Republicans. So are we seeing Silicon Valley deliver for Kamala?
Yeah, the same efforts we're seeing on Wall Street, we're also seeing in Silicon Valley. They're having the same kind of conversations of how can we start to raise money. This is, all politics are at its core local, and Harris, represents California. She is from there. She has personal relationships with some of these people. So some of the folks who may not have been as inclined to give to Biden are now coming out of the woodwork to give to Harris.
All right, Laura Davison.
Wow, IWM just rolled over. Whoa. I don't know why, but it just tanked. Like, you had a run there at the start, just absolutely tanked. Now down 91 basis points. Yikes, that's sort of like out of nowhere. And let's see here, AMC down 7.5. Qs are almost down now, the full 2%. Looks like the Qs kind of keep going a bit here. Not great. And oh, yep, okay, now you're down more than 2%. Wow. Wow, wow. Enphase still up 6%. And now down about 202 rather. And Tesla's about to go to 12% down. Holy crap. Holy smokes. Wow. And now Nvidia's rolling back over. Wow. Wow. Okay. Palantir down 4%. Wow. A lot. And yeah, there it is. 12% on Tesla. Enphase holding on to about 6.5. SOX back up again. ARM's down almost 5. AMC's down 7. Ay. What a poop show, huh? These are the sell-offs that make me nervous about recession risk. So, don't love that. But what are you gonna do? So, all right, what else? Oh dear. Let's see here. Yeah, look at that. IWM keeps going. It's down a full percent. GME down 3.4. Oh, there you go. Nice little green candle just as I look at it. And, oh, BTC just went bearish too. Yikes. Google. It's still holding up. Still trying. Wow, 12.5. Oh, 7% on end phase. Let's go. Snowball. All right, I gotta go get another cup of coffee. I gotta go to the course member live stream. If you haven't joined yet, make sure you join the course member live stream so you get all my alerts on building your wealth, whether it's through real estate investing, stock investing, you name it. Check it out, meetkevin.com. Price is going up soon. I think at the end of the month. It's July 31st, I'm pretty sure. So check that out, and you'll get to see, if you're in the stocks and psych, you'll get to see the short-term options I'm playing, the swing trades I'm playing, whatever trade alerts there are. I can't make any guarantees, but always try to do our best. And thank you so much for watching, folks. We'll see you on the next one. MeetKevin.com. Even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is neither personalized financial advice nor real estate advice for you. It is not tax, legal, or otherwise personalized advice tailored to you. This video provides generalized perspective, information, and commentary. Any third-party content I show should not be deemed endorsed by me. This video is not and shall never be deemed reasonably sufficient information for the purpose of evaluating a security or investment decision. Any links or promoted products are either paid affiliations or products or services which we may benefit from. I personally operate and actively manage ETF and hold long positions in various securities, potentially including those mentioned in this video. However, I have no relationship to any issuers other than HouseHack, nor am I presently acting as a market maker. All right, see you in the next one.